The Olympics are over. Among other things, the Olympics are about a test. Years of preparation come down to one event, and the athletes win or lose. Thank God life is not like that. We have multiple chances to be tested, and when we fail, it's possible, always possible, to get up and try again. Lent is one of those times that gives all of us an opportunity to be renewed. We're invited to acknowledge what has gone wrong in our lives and commit ourselves to change. When the scriptures speak of being tempted, it often means being tested, much like steel is tested to see how strong it is. We are tested to see what we are made of, to discover who we are not, and what we want to become. And today's readings really point this out. The simple story of Adam and Eve says it all. They were tested and failed. They wanted to be like God, and they failed the test. And the story of Adam and Eve is really the story of us all. While God made us, as those of us of a certain age knew from the old catechism, to know, love, and serve him in this world and to be happy with him in the next, we often frustrate God's design. We want to be the God. We think God should run things as we think they should be run. We are the ones who want to be loved and served, but we are the created, not the creator. And that's the test that Adam and Eve failed to pass, and one we are tested on many times in life. Matthew also tells a story of a temptation that was a testing. He presupposes that we have a knowledge of the Old Testament, especially the book of Deuteronomy. Jesus has been baptized in Matthew's gospel, but before he begins his public ministry, he goes out into the desert for 40 days. It's quite similar to the 40-year wandering in the desert of Moses. So with Jesus, he was tested to see who he was. His testing tells us who he is and, in a sense, who he is not. The temptations were for immediate satisfaction, for bread, for the dramatic, or for false worship. And Jesus responds to each one with a quotation from the book of Deuteronomy. It is written, he says. It is written. It is written. But this is not a class in Scripture. Suffices to say that the church proclaims this reading at the beginning of our 40-day period of Lent, because our Lent really is a time of testing, to say who we are and who we are not. And through the very traditional 3 points of Lent, prayer, works of charity, and self-denial, we are testing ourselves. If you have not yet begun to mark the season of Lent in your life, now is the time to start. Introduce needed changes in your life. If you are aware of patterns of living that need to be modified, use these days to make it happen. Reinforce relationships. Break relationships. Establish relationships. What precisely you need to do depends on your own situation. These 40 days are an invitation that you and I receive from God. We're invited to test ourselves to see what it is we are made of.